This is a full-colour hardback book which measures roughly 28 by 22 centimetres or 11 inches by 9 inches and is 20 millimetres or 12/16 of an inch thick, which is about the same dimensions as all of the large FFG hardbacks. Being such a weighty tome, this product is case-bound. This means that the pages have been sewn in. Can you see the stitches here? Groups of folded pages called signatures are stitched together in a process called smith sewing, and these signatures are glued into the binding to make a durable and long-lasting fastening. Plus, it also means that it opens fully and lays flat on your lap or a table without any damage to the spine. Although at either end the weight of the pages will drag it closed, particularly when new. Sadly, there is no page ribbon, but you probably shouldn't be dwelling on any individual blasphemous image too much. It comes with a removable dust jacket made from a high gloss paper, and the cover below is fully printed with the same image as the dust jacket, but without any text. On your inside flap there is a little summary of what the book is about. It is an art book if you hadn't guessed, but it's worth noting that this book draws from more than just FFG sources, with a couple of pieces from the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game from Chaosium. On the rear flap is the briefest biography of H.P. Lovecraft and a tiny likeness of the man himself, which, if we flip to the front of the book and start working our way in, we see a larger version on the title page. Then we have the credits on the left and the contents on the right, before moving on to a lengthier introduction from the book's editor which summarises the suitability of Lovecraft's prose for turning into visual illustrations. And it also lets you know that despite the title, this book contains visualizations from the works of many related authors such as Clark Ashton Smith, Robert Bloch, Brian Lumley, Robert E. Howard, and you get the idea. Now we enter the first chapter. When producing a book that is a collection of art, there is always the choice of how to group and order the works. If you are documenting the history of a game like this Legend of the Five Rings book or this Judge Dredd collection, then chronologically is a popular choice. To that end, the pictures are collected together into themes, as follows. Forbidden knowledge, images of ancient texts, those who seek them, and the horrible ramifications of knowledge. Visitors, images of unusual and terrible beings. Law and disorder, images of gangsters, lawmen, and the horrific circumstances that led them to an alliance. Strange pastimes, images of practitioners of the occult, worshippers of dread beings, and the mad few who devote their lives to combating the unknowable. The deep, images of Innsmouth, its strange inhabitants, and the ancient horrors that lie dead but dreaming beneath the ocean. Expeditions, images of explorers and adventurers questing into the unknown and the ancient truths they uncover. The King in Yellow, images of the blasphemous play, its cast, and the followers of he who must not be named. The Crawling Chaos, images of the thousand faces of the crawling chaos, the key and the gate, and other things unknowable and indescribable. Each chapter is a different length depending on how much material they had for that particular topic. Then there are 6 pages of artist bios, which are of varying length and are probably written by the artists themselves. Many of them do feature the artist's web address, so you can check out more of their work. Also included are details of the book's editors and a call out to the other notable artists who have worked with Fantasy Flight and Chaosium over the years, which is a really generous tribute. Finally, there are 2 humorous pieces. When thinking of Mythos artists, you don't really imagine John Kovalic, best known for his Dork Tower comic or illustrating the Munchkin card game. It was great to see these 2 pieces included but kept separate from the main collection, the ideal palette cleanser as you return to the real world. And look at that, a fine example of the FFG tradition of cramming in adverts wherever it can. It's not like that full colour page could have been used for another piece of Mythos art or anything. But wait! Do you remember a time when Arkham Horror only had 2 expansions, or when board games cost a mere $59.95? This thought brings us to an extremely important point about this book. It was published in 2006, which is before Eldritch Horror, Mansions of Madness, Elder Sign, 3rd edition Arkham Horror, and notably the biggest current user of Fantasy Flight Mythos art, the card game. In fact, this is 3 years before the Call of Cthulhu LCG would appear in January 2009. The bulk of this art is from the earlier collectible card game version, which is different from the Mythos CCG from Chaosium. This is extremely important because it means most of your art will be in landscape format and was intended to be printed and viewed as tiny pictures. When you blow it up larger, it can look a little fuzzy or simplistic. This is because the demand for CCG art meant that they had to be produced rapidly. This is also an era when artists weren't working digitally, as many of them are today. That explains why the majority of reproductions in this book are at only double or 4 times their printed size. Still smaller than the original art though. You will find the majority of pages feature 2 or 3 pieces in various layouts. Therefore, it is a little disappointing when you find a large section of a page left blank. Hopefully this was done for artistic reasons so as not to lessen the dramatic impact of the lone piece being presented. There are full page and even double page images, but these are rare. All the art bar these 2 line drawings are what you would think of as traditional painted illustrations. There are about 184 pages of art, so you are definitely getting your money's worth. Within the last 5 years, Fantasy Flight has basically rebooted its Arkham Files art style, fully embracing the digital age, as you can see in the Investigators of Arkham book and the new hardback novellas. One of the driving forces for this is the new card game, which is a massive consumer of art. But despite this modernisation, you will still see plenty of pieces that you recognise. And of course, there is this image which has to appear in every Arkham hardback. What was missing were the investigators, which have undergone the biggest transformation with just a single glimpse of Jenny from her younger days. There is a modest amount of nudity, with nothing explicit, and some reasonably scary monsters which you might not want to show to young children, and a single instance of gore which we aren't going to put in the video. Overall, this book is a wonderful time capsule that will be a delight for any fans of the CCG or original LCG, and is of course a must for the Mythos collector. So why didn't you hear about it before now? Well, we guess it had got forgotten about in a warehouse. We only stumbled across it because we noticed it had its own forum on the FFG community pages. So how can you get hold of it now it is 12 years old and only had a single print run? Well, this being a book, your first thought might be Amazon, particularly if you got a gift card this Christmas. And there are indeed copies on Amazon that will either be available in your country or shipped to it. But as always with Amazon, check for more than one listing and don't pay the first price you see. Searching by author and editor, we found a copy that was £150 cheaper. Your next stop should be eBay, especially if you don't mind a second-hand copy. eBay's global shipping program can save you an absolute fortune, as they take care of the international postage rather than the seller. But wait, what's this? By Nodin's beard, it's available from the FFG web store. Simply go to the products and then the Arkham Files section of their website. Click on fiction and scroll down to the art books and behold, there it is. And at retail price too. Ha ha ha, you poor deluded fools. If you live in the US, then definitely snap this up now. But for people in the rest of the world, Fantasy Flight Games shipping is excruciating. Look at that, the postage is almost twice the cost of the book itself, turning a $30 book into an $80 book. See why we showed you eBay and Amazon first? We made an entire video all about FFG international shipping and how to use the web store, but in summary, do all you can to try and find other people to purchase with you. As the moment you order a second copy, not only does your shipping cost drop from $51.50 per book to $37.50 per book, but you get upgraded from first class to priority international. 3 copies is only $29 shipping per book, 4 copies $24.50, 5 copies $22, and 6 copies is $20 per book to ship. 6 is also the case quantity. To find out the case quantity of anything, you need to add an item to your cart and go all the way through the checkout screens to the penultimate one here. And then it will let you know. You don't get a discount for case quantity, but the items are shipped in their manufacturer packaging. This means all the FFG warehouse Oompa Loompas need to do is put a shipping label on it and chuck it out the door, as opposed to repack it from scratch. Potentially, this is a way to speed up or simplify your order, particularly at busy times like Christmas and other holidays. Another thing we did was tell them exactly what we think of their crazy shipping in the special instructions box, which we then deleted and asked them to make sure it was labelled as books. Here in the UK, books are exempt from VAT or tax. And even though the sender has to legally declare accurate contents, you want them to be sure they don't use their default declaration of board game. And do order any books separately from other products where possible, otherwise the whole shipment will be taxed. We ordered 4 books on the 17th of December and paid the extra to have UPS deliver them quicker, so we could hopefully get a video out for you by Christmas. Which meant the shipping was still more than the cost of the books. Now you can see why we have a Patreon. On the 19th, the order was dispatched and it arrived with us on the 24th of December. We were charged $240, which is $60 per book. After currency conversion, this was £190 or £47.50 per book. If we went for the cheaper shipping, we could probably make this £42.50 per book, which is way better than the original $81.45 for a single copy. That is pretty much everything we can think of to tell you about this book. If you have any questions, then do put them in the comments below. Before we go, we have a little favour to ask. No, you don't have to give us money, even though we just spent £200 making a video for you. Please do share this video. In all our years playing FFG games and making Arkham Files content, we had never heard of this book. So chances are many other people haven't as well. The Arkham Files games are numerous and there are lots of places people talk about them, so please do share this video if you see it hasn't already been mentioned somewhere. Particularly places like Discord or Facebook where Mum says we aren't allowed to go. Speaking of Mum, what's she going to say when she finds out we have been spending on her credit card again? Oh mercy.